This is Julia Sotas, and you're listening to A Different Reality. What else is possible beyond this reality that you haven't yet chosen? All right. Awesome. So welcome everybody to my podcast. Today I have a very special guest, the worldwide coordinator of access consciousness, you could call her, and a very, very kind, creative, amazing lady who I have known for almost, I don't know, a long time.
Long time.
Long time I've known
Long time. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so excited to have you on today. So today's friend, I have Francesca Fiorentini, and Francesca has been working with Access for a long time, hosting Gary and Dane's classes in Europe, and supporting the business and creating the Access business. And now she's branching off and creating her facilitation business, which is very exciting, and starting telecalls, classes, private sessions, all kinds of things. And so it's a very exciting time. And today we are actually going to talk about business and how business is created. When you have those feelings of, I just can't make this work. I just can't start. Nothing's happening. Everything feels like it's all over the place. I have no direction. And I'm really excited to talk to you about that, Francesca, because that's something that, I've really seen. You can just take crazy amounts of craziness and you go, here we go. Here's a class. Let's put this together. How do we get around this? What do we do? So I am so excited to talk to you about that. So thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Julia. And whatever you say to me, it's been such a pleasure in the last, tons of years. Doesn't really matter how many.
Yeah.
But I think at the beginning of Access, you were 2012, or 2013. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the topics that really, it's not even about just excitement. It's just like, because I've been learning during the years that more questions we are willing to ask for and of our business and from our business and basically our life. That's how you are able to unravel all those places where you feel like stuck, or then I cannot handle it, I cannot do it. So, and that actually the base of access consciousness, really being the question constantly. And the fact that, that's the gift for me that's been access consciousness in the past almost 9-10 years. Because there is one of the main thing, and I don't know if you never heard about access consciousness, right? But probably the follower of your podcast will know a little bit. It's a matter I've been living before knowing all these tools to, in a way or the other, that I had to show to people around me that I was right. That was the winner point. Mm-hmm. If you are right, you can move forward. You will win. Mm-hmm. You need to show the rightness to others to actually dive into this life. But with Access Consciousness tool, one of the main things that actually captured me the most was the fact, are you willing to be free instead of being right? And just reading that quote, probably was Gary Douglas or Dr. Dan here, the founder and co-creator. I just got a big hint. I'm like, wow, I can actually just be free. Doesn't really matter anymore to be right. I'm saying that because there is
totally.
Yeah. So and then it's been it's not a long journey. It's more there's been this road of, looking at all the little spots where I wasn't willing to be just free and choose for what was creating the most for me and the greatest for everyone. But that has been the first things I want to have that. So be free, no longer be right.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big change. I've been looking at the same thing, and it's a big change. And what it really does is it takes you out of reaction and puts you into action. And I think that's one of these things that when people are creating a business and starting a business, it's like we are taught to do pretty much everything from reaction. And if you're starting a business and creating a business, especially a business of consciousness or something that's different, you have to be in action. And you can't do that from always being perfect, always being liked, always being right. It's like you have to do action. So can you talk a little bit more about action?
Yeah. So action, first of all, because things for me as well happen every day, show up every day. Nothing really happened. But it's fine. Like sometimes we get still in reaction. Okay. Like there is this, what does it mean? Like something probably show up or has been created that doesn't really work for you. And that might be in your business, but I was talking with a friend of me yesterday. It was about relationship, for example. Like that, we are into to find the rightness of the point of view, the right choice to make, the right things to say, and that actually what actually drives you to is to prove to actually show actually totally the opposite. That because when you're looking to have the right answer to something, you will never be satisfied of the answer yourself. Talk. Let's talk about you, like ourselves, and then also the others. There will be always a judgment about it, right? Because we'll be never enough. I don't know you guys, but most of the time, it's never enough. You know, I don't never feel like.
No,
How many?
honestly, I've never looked at it that way. And that is such a good point. Like, you can never win.
Never. There is no right recipe, the right key. People sometimes ask, "Oh, can you give me? How can you tell me how you did that? How you achieved that?" I'm like, well, I don't really have the right recipes for it. You have your own. Like it's not even a recipe. You have your own path, and based on really the choice of the moment. In Access, we call it the 10-second increments. But it's also, let me go back a little bit about talking about action, because sometimes we think about, we have been taking an action. And an action is basically start with a question. The action is the choice based on the question that you are willing to ask to receive information, and at the same time
Right.
getting the awareness and also receiving the contribution.
Yep.
Most of the time people, what I notice, like because we talked about before, I don't know what to do, it's too much. What if in your life, in your business, as Gary Douglas said about the money, it's never enough and always too much? Why I'm saying that? Because what if we are willing to really receive all the information? What I mean, like most of the time people get overwhelmed or get cranky or get like stress because they put up barriers to, because they don't desire to receive all the information related to something. Because when
Yes.
you ask a question, most of the time, like you really like, oh, the purpose of asking a question is really like receive everything, all the information from the universe that will give you the awareness. So might be a sense of being overwhelmed, but that's not true. That's a lie. It's really actually the opposite, because it's when you're not willing to receive the information, it's when you feel like overwhelmed because you are missing something and you're blocking the receiving in your creation. Before, like now I'm the worldwide coordinator, and before I was, as you say, like hosting events, coordinating the live translation for Access and more on that, because I was willing to do, and to now as well, to do anything and be anything. Didn't really matter. That was the joy for me, like, you know, as well, like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And when I start working with other people and leading some goggles, remember the people working with me say, how do you remember that? I'm like, oh, well, I didn't actually know how, but for me, more information I have creates a sort of a piece. And they were like, well, this is a little bit too much for me. And I was asking them, is truly too much? Remember all of that or have, and it's not even about remember. It's really about having your awareness open on everything. And when it's required, the it's like the
Totally. It's
land
like,
thing. Oh yeah, I know that. I know that person. I know that. And and then that's how I start realizing how much we stop our um, capacity on creation because we had the point of view that is too much. I'm like, whoa. Like, I don't know if you guys, if you're, and you, Julia, you probably have been going through that as well during the years because you are such an amazing, I always love you when you are in class in telecalls and listening to your questions and the willingness to ask always for more. And also the willingness, one of the things you have, and sorry if I'm talking about you now, but it's
oh,
an amazing example, the willingness to don't care about the question you're asking.
yeah.
You don't care what people will think about it.
Nope.
Don't care. You really want to have clarity and have the awareness on that. And
Yeah.
that's most of the time, 100% I will say, it's such a contribution to everyone else.
Thank you.
True.
That's awesome. And yeah, I do. Like, I really, really, and sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I asked that in front of everybody. But it's like, it has given me so much awareness. Like, I know, like, I'll ask about the weirdest, most specific, da 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 da, and then get the information and then go out and use it. And it's like, thank you for putting it that way because it does make my life better because I have information about the weirdest, most bizarre areas. So thank you for that.
Oh,
And
thank you. But how
yeah,
many people that are not willing to ask any question because there is also the fact of being right? They have to know everything.
yeah,
That's like, really? Like, and if you never, if you hear, listen to that and you've never been to an access event or an online event, it's really like most of the time someone asks a question and contribute to you. I don't even tell you the amount of time I ask question and I felt like a little bit stupid, quote unquote, as you
mm-hmm.
say. And
Yes,
then on the coffee area or somewhere else, the people were stopping me. Thank you for what you ask. Contribute to me so much. Because there is a simplicity in a being too that we need to be willing to be. What if nothing is really complicated in business, in creation? And what if we are really willing to be out of the judgment of us? That doesn't really, yeah.
you know, there was somebody who was asking about like, how do I do business? And Gary said, you know, it's just like when you played dolls. Like when somebody came over to your house and you guys played dolls. That's as much as is going on in the real business world. And for you, it's playful, it's fun. Use it and go play, go play. Go, you know, the way you played, the way, you know, I played Barbies or I played whatever. I don't know what you played, Francesca,
I
in
play
Venice.
Barbie too.
You played Barbies too. And it's like, you know, it's like that's really how complicated business is. And that's what everybody has to be willing to realize is
Yeah.
that's how complicated it is. It's your willingness to realize it's not complicated, your willingness to work hard at whatever uncomplicated stuff you have to do because you have to do it and you have to work hard. And then just willing to receive. You have to be willing to receive. And
Yeah.
it's like so simple.
Exactly. Funny because I've been playing Barbies as well. And since my mom has an hotel, when I had a hotel when I was a kid, I was most of the day there, just in the night we were home. So I couldn't really leave out my Barbie house. So every day I was building it up, play with them, and then put it
Take it
down in the
to the
box.
hotel.
It's funny about how I was willing to build up my house for the Barbies every day because that was the playground I had to play with and have fun. So it's
That's
funny how
interesting,
yeah,
though. That
you
really
find
says something.
it's like what if you were because also the matter of being willing to do anything that is required. It's it's what if there is no such a thing of a hard work because always it's always It's always a choice. Well, sometimes we could be tired, sometimes we could be have the feel sense of being stressed, or but it's, what if we're willing when this occur to take a moment, just like really take a moment. And lately we are talking about relaxing in creation. And the relaxation is really, for me, one of the bases is really lower your barriers, right? Like start pulling energy from the earth. The earth, like lately I'm so much more connecting with the nature and the earth than I was before, because I actually, with this COVID-19, I've been like not traveling as much anymore. And I live in front of the ocean. I have birds, so that I wasn't enjoying as much before. So it's really like receiving from the earth, receiving from anything. And then just saying that, I don't know if you have the perception of, you start being more yourself, like have more a sense of you. And
Yeah.
from there, like start, and I don't know, you have to do a creation list, or a reminder list, or have do phone calls, or blah, 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 like whatever is required. What are the idea? But if you start from a point that you are stressed, that doesn't create. There is a possibility to invite more elegance as well in your life. And it's not just about the
Elora.
allora. It's
I
not
want
just
to
about
talk
the
about that
clothes
too.
that you're wearing, you know, or it's just, yeah, it's the energy of the life that you desire to create and to live, to be. I've been like watching and looking at Gary Douglas and Dr. Dan here for so many years. And I mean, it's not always, because the fact that someone think, oh, it's always like La Vie en Rose, right? Everything is pink, everything is fairy tale. Not all the time. Is not all the time fairy tale. There is also very strange, intense moment too. But asking for ease, it's also being willing to, even if it's not easy, you can make it ease, right? Like you can transform it. You can. I mean, it's all of that, and I'm
You
so
have
grateful. Hmm?
was I on a class with you and Diva where you were talking about how you accidentally didn't read, there was some sort of contract where they sort of tricked you and you had to pay all this extra money for sleeping rooms when you were hosting Gary and Dane's class that was not supposed to be there, and you were like, okay, if I have to pay this out of my paycheck for the next how many years when I'm hosting, I will. And that's like a level of like presence and standing up and being willing to be there and being willing to fuck up, and in the end you didn't have to pay it, right?
No, we change it, but it's also that it's, you know, the amount of time we hide into ourselves or to others, whatever is not going very right.
Totally, totally hide it.
And
Yeah.
then more you hide it, it's not like, it's funny because, you know, if you don't address the shit that is in the room, it's not that the smell will go away. It's actually keep increasing, keep increasing, keep increasing. You know, you can pretend it's not there, but people will get into your house. I'm like, what's going on here? You know, so better to be, so also when you address it, you are willing to receive contribution from others as well. So it's really the fact that I was willing to, no matter what, I mean, it's just money, right? I can pay them off. It was my fault. But then based on that, I've been creating a magic, and then we didn't have to pay anything.
Yep.
Because I've been with that presence of lowering down your barriers and relax, even if I was frantic, because it was like, and it was a long time ago, you know, it was also like, and I've been able to find the one line in the long contract that they didn't, how you say, oh, no, F4. Anyway, there wasn't incorrect from their side. So I just named it.
So
And there
it
was like,
voided, it voided the whole thing.
yeah. So I'm like, but if I wouldn't be calm and present, I wouldn't notice that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's really all of that. Yeah. Well, a lot. It's fun.
Awesome.
It's really fun. And in
So
this moment of life, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go.
no, go, please.
I was also looking as much as the willingness to change, to receive change constantly. It's also lately, like with this COVID-19 restriction travel and how for so many businesses around the world, I think all the businesses have been in effect in a way or the other. But what if the effect that you had from and caused the COVID-19, it's not as bad as you think it was? Because that also, what if it's really something that was required? That was a change that was really required. And from there, what else can you create? Einstein as well, like, it's funny because if you read about a quote to him talking about crisis
Yep.
doesn't really exist. It's a moment where new people actually will create, no, well, new possibility will be created. So which new possibility can you create in your life that you haven't even think about before,
Yeah.
or
I'm
even
watching
considered?
I'm
Yeah.
watching right now on not Netflix, but on Amazon. I'm watching this lecture series right now about everything about the Black Plague and
Mm.
how life changed with the Black Plague. And it was so good for the people who did survive. Their lives improved so much. They were the leaders in like the music, the art, the whole world became a beautiful, wonderful place after the Black Plague.
Was the Black Plague there's in Europe?
Yeah, like 1300s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, there's been like, yeah, I get
maybe
it.
some. There's been some, a few.
Yeah, there's been some, but then it's like, but it's true. Like it's I mean, if you look at humanity, compare the life of a person compared to the life of the earth, it's just a it's just a drop in the ocean, right? But it's not just we are the drop in the ocean, and we are the ocean too. So
Yeah,
there is this, yeah, it's really, but
yeah.
yeah,
We are the
make me
ocean.
laugh. No, make me laugh. Sometimes you're getting so worried about so many things, and then life is like life flies so fast. Like,
Seriously.
relax. Truly, truly.
Seriously.
Mm-mm.
Seriously. So, I'd like to hear a little bit about Elora. This is
Allora,
a telecall that you have coming up, and but it's also a way of life that you have. Your team says Elora. I don't even know how to. I feel so like Canadian when I say it.
are you?
Elora, Elora. You need to say it for me.
Allora, allora.
Okay, Elora.
Allora is an Italian word that's really like help, like doesn't really have any translation in English properly, but it's
Yeah,
matter of it's really it's it can be used to between sentences into attract the attention, to change the energy, to hey, what's up, or what else, that's the end of it. Yeah, but so, and that's why, because my team and the people that have been working with me, it's something that I say constantly, like okay, allora,
totally.
let's do that.
You're
Yeah.
always when we're in the classroom in Roma. You're like Elora, Elora, Elora.
It's because for me it's so natural, so I couldn't really, but it's the matter of actually, and that's why I was so excited, because I say, what if we create something around that, on the elegance of creation? And it's also like I actually call them creation sessions more, because it's really like when people come in and what they desire to create, what they desire to change, what they've been asking to achieve, or all of that. From there we can start. It's not me telling you what is the right thing.
I like
It's really
that.
it's I like the energy of having this creation session, and everything is a creation
Yeah, but
session.
it's
It's
very
powerful too.
including. It's
Yeah,
including everybody's point of view and the change that they would like to get.
yeah. And truly, I mean, what that will be, you will discover if you come on. It's like,
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, it's a two-part telecall.
It's a two-part miracle set. Yeah,
Coming up
starting
in
on the
July.
2nd of July. And then we move like on the 2nd, and then I desire to have like 10, 12 days in between just to look at how can we use the tools in the frame of time between the two sessions. And then, that's the start, and then see what else
What
will
else?
be for
That
the
is really
future.
cool.
Yeah.
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 Well, that is awesome. So, before we go, could you sort of give all of those of everybody listening out there, everybody listening to this, a tool to leave them with that they can go out and use for the next week that will help them, a question or a tool or something that you're using that makes your life a greater place that they can use to make their life a greater place?
Yeah. Well, one tools is hard now. It's funny how you say that. One of my the first tools I really got when I came across the access consciousness tools was because I was so much in the demand of being more of me, no matter what other people were saying, no matter what other people were telling me that what the correct rules was. So when you have the sense that your life is not as you desire, or there is a sense of like stuckness, means that you are not being you. So one of the questions I constantly asking when I don't have the peace of being me, I ask, okay, if I was choosing for me here, what would I choose? That's like, and take you away, okay, take you out from choosing based on what other people will be pleased
Right.
or what other people will be happy about it. Because remember, you can't never please people enough. Will be never be enough. And I was actually, because I've been spending lots of time of my life pleasing others or make other people happy, but they were never happy. So it's really when you're choosing for you, whatever there is. Because I notice sometimes people, like my mom, for example, she was so funny. For years and years and years, my father on Sunday, she used to buy pastry and brought it home, Italy and pastry and everything. And then for 20 years, he thought that she liked a sort of pastry, but she didn't. She liked another one. But
Oh my God.
she actually never told him what was the flavor that she liked, because she thought he would have been unpleasant, or like he would have been sad about it. So for 25 years, she actually ate the pastry that she didn't like to don't unplease him. I'm like, jeez, are you serious? So that's actually, and that's such a simple thing that make also
Yes,
laugh, because
but
it just, in
it
how many other areas we
applies
choose now based on us.
every area. Yes.
So it's really give you the freedom. And when she told him after a long time, he didn't have any point of view, because probably we discovered, so we told dad, I remember what happened. And then he started buying the right one for her. And now I was like, whoa, like, what if there is, yeah. So if I was choosing for me, what would I choose? What would it be? And then you
That
get the energy of it. Yeah.
that's great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I like that story.
It's like insane.
But it
And
is,
then
it's
someone think
insane,
about,
but we do it in so many areas.
we do. We do. And then we think about why we took like ages to get out of all these conflict.
Oh God.
Exactly. Fun. It's fun. That's how much
Oh,
fun can we have with that?
exactly. That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
on today,
Julie.
Francesca. Really,
Thank you.
it's
Such
been
a
a pleasure.
pleasure.
Yes. And thank you to everybody out there listening. And it is such a pleasure to do this podcast and get to have these conversations. And I'm so glad that you are out there listening and creating a more conscious life for yourself and creating a different reality, because now is the time. It's a different world and we have a different future. And now is the time that the world is going to need your weirdness. So you better get weird and you better get happy. So
You
Thank
get a
you.
bit weird, you get a bit happy. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Cool. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of A Different Reality. It would be awesome if you could share this podcast with your friends and family. I'm always looking to spread the seeds of consciousness. And you can find me on my website at juliasotas.com. Until next time, what energy, space, consciousness, and choice can you be to create a reality totally beyond this reality with total ease?